Lecture 44, Travel on Gore. On foot by Kaiila, by Tharlarion, on Tarn by ship, the roads and skies of the counter-earth. A lecture by Saracen Thorn. Part 1 Opening. Masters, mistresses, free men and free women, Kajara and Kajari, I greet you. The circle is open. Gore is a dangerous world, and it is a large world. To move from one place to another, from Ar to Kas, from the Barrens to Schendi, requires courage, preparation, and knowledge. Travel on Gore is not easy, it is not fast, and it is never without risk. This lecture will cover the 5 main ways that Goreans travel: on foot, by Kaiila, on the backs of giant tarns, and across the sea in ships. We will discuss the equipment, the training, the dangers, and the laws that govern travel on Gore, and we will see how the Priest King's restrictions on technology shape every journey. The circle is open. Part 2, Travel on Foot, the humblest way. Most Goreans do not own a tarn. Most do not own a Kaiila. Most walk. On foot is the most common form of travel on Gore, especially for the lower castes. A peasant walking to the nearest market, a craftsman traveling to a neighboring town, a merchant's apprentice carrying goods. Walking is slow. A passing, roughly 0.7 miles, takes about 20 minutes on a good road. 100 passings is a journey of many days. The known world of Gore stretches for thousands of passings. There are roads. Some are paved, like the Victal area leading to Ar. Some are dirt tracks through the wilderness, but all roads on Gore are dangerous. The danger is not just from bandits. Wild animals, sleen, larls, panthers stalk travelers who wander too far from the protection of the cities. The Priest Kings do not protect travelers. They do not patrol the roads. A traveler on foot carries everything they need: a waterskin, food, a weapon, usually a knife or a short sword, perhaps a blanket for sleeping, perhaps a tarn whistle if they have a friend who might hear. But walking is the slowest way, and on Gore, slowness invites danger. Part 3, the Kaiila, the only mount. There are no horses on Gore. This is a common misconception. The mount of Gore is the Kaiila. The Kaiila, standing 20 to 22 hands high, is a silken, lofty, graceful, long-necked, and smooth-gaited beast. It is not a horse. It is not a horse-like creature. It is something entirely different. The paws of the Kaiila are not hooves as that of the horse of earth. The Kaiila are claw-footed beasts, most likely for digging up roots as well as a defense mechanism. Their claws are retractable, such as a feline's claws. Therefore, Kaiila would not be shod, nor would they require to be shod regardless. The Kaiila have 2 large eyes, one on each side of their head, with 3 eyelids. This is an adaptation to the environment, as each of these breeds lives upon lands that are racked by severe storms of wind and dust. The 3rd lid is transparent, which permits the animal to move as it wishes under such extreme conditions. The Kaiila is most dangerous under such conditions and generally utilizes this time for their hunting. An excellent beast for traveling, the Kaiila is swift and agile and can travel up to 600 passings a day. A passing equals 7/10 of an Earth mile, so 600 Gorean passings would equal 420 Earth miles. The Kaiila has storage tissues, which enables the beast to go longer periods without water. 3.13 species of Kaiila. There are 3 species of Kaiila mentioned in the books. First, the southern Kaiila. This serves as the mount of the wagon peoples of the southern plains. It is carnivorous. It is viviparous, meaning the young are born live. There is no suckling of the young. The Kaiila is born vicious, and as soon as they struggle to their feet, they must hunt to feed. The southern Kaiila have a storage stomach, enabling the beast to go for days without meat. Second, the Barrens Kaiila. This serves as the mount of the red savages. It is similar to the southern Kaiila but adapted to the vast prairies of the Barrens. Third, the desert Kaiila or sand Kaiila. This serves as the mount of the nomadic tribes of the Tahari Desert. It is omnivorous, eating both meat and vegetation. Unlike the southern Kaiila, the sand Kaiila suckles its young. The milk of the Kaiila is reddish in color and very salty, but is used by the peoples of the Tahari. The paws of the sand Kaiila are much broader, the digits webbed and heavily padded, to withstand the torturous heat of the sands. 3.2 Kaiila hair and its uses. The Kaiila, unlike the ver and hurt, is never sheared. When it sheds its hair, however, the hair may be gathered, and depending on the hair, various cloths can be made from it. There is a soft, fine hair, the most prized, which grows on the belly of the animal. There is an undercoating of hair, soft but coarser, which is used for most cloth. And there are the long, outer hairs which, though still soft and pliant, are comparatively the most coarse. The hairs of this coat are used primarily for rope and tent cloth. 3.3 Riding the Kaiila. The Kaiila is high-strung, aggressive, and vicious-tempered. It is common for such beasts to attempt to bite a human, though domesticated. Riding a Kaiila requires skill and strength. The reins used to control a Kaiila differ between cultures. Whites control their Kaiila by a headstall, bit, and reins. The red savages use a bridle that is a strap or braided leather tie placed below the tongue and behind the teeth, then tied about the lower jaw. Two reins or a single double rein then come back over the animal's head. Bareback riding is most common in war and hunting. Saddles are used for trading, visiting, and ceremonial journeys, more to impress others than for function. Part 3.4 Tharlarion, the heavy mounts of Gore. The Kaiila is not the only mount on Gore. There are also Tharlarion, large reptilian creatures used for heavy labor, war, and transport. What are Tharlarion? Tharlarion are reptiles. They come in many varieties. Some are small, some are enormous, some are herbivorous, some are carnivorous, some walk on 4 legs, and some, the most relevant for travel, walk on 2. The high Tharlarion riding Tharlarion. The high Tharlarion is a bipedal species. It runs on its powerful hind legs. Its forelegs are smaller, often held against its body. It is smaller than the massive 4-legged draft Tharlarion, but it is still a formidable creature. These Tharlarion can be ridden. They can carry a grown man in a saddle. They are used as mounts in certain regions, particularly in the southern hemisphere, among the wagon peoples and the cities of Tyria and Tor. Riding Tharlarion versus Kaiila. The riding Tharlarion is not as fast as a Kaiila. It cannot match the Kaiila's speed over long distances, but it has other advantages. Strength: a Tharlarion can carry heavier loads than a Kaiila. It is a mount for warriors in heavy armor, for merchants with heavy packs, for soldiers in formation. Endurance: Tharlarion do not tire as quickly as Kaiila. They can march for hours without rest. Fearlessness: Tharlarion are not easily spooked. They will stand their ground against laurels, sleen, and other predators. Combat: in battle, a Tharlarion is a weapon. Its size, weight, and powerful jaws can crush an enemy. The low Tharlarion, draft Tharlarion. The low Tharlarion is a quadruped. It walks on 4 legs. It is massive, slow, and powerful. These are the beasts that pull the heavy wagons of the wagon peoples, carry supplies for armies, and drag siege engines to city walls. They are not used as riding mounts. They are too slow, but they are essential for logistics. Riding a high Tharlarion. The saddle of a high Tharlarion is different from a Kaiila saddle. It is built to accommodate the creature's spine and the movement of its hind legs. The rider sits high above the creature's hips. The reins are attached to a headstall similar to a horse. The Tharlarion is not a gentle mount. It is a reptile. Its brain is simple. It does not bond with its rider the way a Kaiila might, but it can be trained, and a trained Tharlarion is a reliable beast. Where are they found? Riding Tharlarion are most common in the southern hemisphere, among the wagon peoples, in the city of Tyria, and in the regions influenced by them. They are also used in Torvaldsland, though less commonly. In the northern cities, Kas, Tyros, the Kaiila, and the Tarn are preferred. The Tharlarion is seen as a southern beast. Tharlarion in warfare. The charge of Tharlarion lancers is a terrifying sight. The hissing of the great beasts, the shouting of the riders, the beating of Tharlarion drums. This is the sound of the wagon peoples going to war. A Tharlarion cavalry charge can break infantry lines. The creatures are too large and too heavy to be stopped by a shield wall. Tharlarion and the Priest Kings. The Priest Kings do not forbid Tharlarion. They are natural creatures, not technology. They are part of Gore's ecosystem. The restriction on metal armor does not apply to the beasts themselves. A Tharlarion is not armor, it is a mount. BTB plus principle applied. The foundation is the books. The Tharlarion, both high and low, are described in Nomads of Gore and other novels. A BTB plus approach respects the Tharlarion as a legitimate mount, while noting that they are less common than Kaiila and Tarns. A character who rides a Tharlarion should have a reason, geography, culture, or personal preference. Part 4. The Tarn, the King of the Skies. The Tarn is the most iconic creature on Gore, a giant bird crested, resembling a cross between a hawk and a jay, but orders of magnitude larger in size. Tarns are bred and raised for their colors of plumage, their intelligence, and their strength. The Tarn is not a domesticated animal. It is not a pet. It is a beast of war, barely tamed, held in check only by the Tarn goad and the will of its rider. 4.1 Varieties of Tarn. There are several distinct varieties of Tarn, each bred for a specific purpose. War Tarns are bred for courage, endurance, and combat in the skies of Gore. Their talons are shod with steel. They are extremely dangerous birds, even more so than other Tarns, none of whom could be regarded as fully domesticated. Racing Tarns are a different creature entirely. They are extremely light birds, 2 men can lift one. Their beaks are narrower and lighter. Their wings are broader and shorter, permitting swifter takeoff, and providing a capacity for extremely abrupt turns. They lack the stamina of war Tarns, but in a short-distance dash, they are superior. Draft Tarns are bred for strength, used in transporting wares by Tarn basket. They fly more slowly and are less vicious than war Tarns. Jungle Tarns are rare, gloriously plumaged birds from the tropical reaches of the Cardius River. Black Tarns are used for night raids. White Tarns are used in winter campaigns. Multicolored, resplendent Tarns are bred for warriors who wish to ride proudly, regardless of the lack of camouflage. The most common Tarn, however, is greenish-brown. 4.2 Tarn equipment. The Tarn saddle is a substantial piece of equipment. It includes saddle packs, weapon sheaths, and paired slave rings. The rider fastens himself into the saddle with a broad purple strap that prevents him from tumbling to his death. A 5-rung leather mounting ladder hangs on the left side of the saddle and is pulled up in flight. The Tarn goad is the most important piece of equipment. It is an electric device that can deliver electric shocks. It has a regulator that allows the charge to be adjusted from barely perceptible to absolutely lethal. Without the Tarn goad, a rider cannot control his Tarn. The Tarn whistle summons one specific Tarn, the mount intended for the rider. Each whistle has its own note, and only one tarn responds to that note. The tarn basket is used for transporting goods or passengers. Tarn baskets are of many different sizes and varieties. Some are little more than flat cradles for carrying planking. Others are long and cylindrical, lined with bearskin, for transporting beverages. The common sort is a general utility basket, flat-bottomed, square-sided, about 4 feet deep, 4 feet wide, and 5 feet long. Baskets may or may not have guidance attachments, permitting the tarn to be controlled from the basket. 4.3 Mastering a tarn. The Goreans believe, incredibly enough, that the capacity to master a tarn is innate. It is not learned. It is a matter of blood and spirit, of beast and man, of a relation between two beings which must be immediate, intuitive, spontaneous. It is said that a tarn knows who is a tarnsman and who is not, and that those who are not die in their first meeting. The tarn can, with a spring and a sudden flurry of its giant wings, lift both itself and its rider into the air. Whereas large earth birds must begin with a running start, the tarn's incredible musculature, aided by the slightly lighter gravity of Gore, allows it to launch from a perch. 4.4 Women in tarns. Throughout the known history of Gore, women have consistently been shown to hold a deep fear of tarns. There is no known record of a woman riding a tarn, except when tied across a tarnsman's saddle as a captive and likely soon-to-be slave, or in a tarn basket as a free woman being transported. The reason is simple. Gorean society universally considers tarnsmanship to be solely the province of men. Gorean men would never permit such an affront to their pride, and would almost certainly capture and enslave any woman who tried. 4.5 Tarns and the Red Savages. Some of the Red Savage tribes have mastered the Tarn. Those tribes are the most dangerous ones. The Kiniampi, also known as the Flighted Ones, are one of the few tribes that has mastered the Tarn. They were considered nearly mythical to most other Red Savage tribes until the events of Blood Brothers of Gore. When raiding, the men paint their bodies yellow and purple. The guide ropes on the tarns are based on the jaw ropes used to control the Kaiila. Part 5. Tarn Racing. Tarn racing exists on Gore. It is a sport, a spectacle, and a proving ground. In Assassin of Gore, we see detailed descriptions of racing harness and saddles. The racing harness works with 2 rings, the throat ring and the main saddle ring, and 6 straps. The racing saddle is only a slip of leather compared to the common tarn saddle. On the racing saddle, there are 2 small straps rather than the 1 large strap on the common saddle. Both straps fasten about the rider and to the saddle, in a sense duplicating the work of the other. The theory is that though smaller straps can break more easily, the probability of both straps breaking at the same time is extremely small. Racing tarns are not used in war because they lack the weight and power of war tarns. Meeting a war tarn in flight, a racing tarn would be torn to pieces in moments. Part 6. Travel by Ship, the Thassa Ocean and the Pirates of Gore. The Thassa Ocean is the Great Sea to the west of the continent. It is vast, dangerous, and largely unexplored. The farther islands lie beyond, and beyond them the world's end, waters from which no ship had previously returned. 6.1 Types of ships. Gorean ships vary by region. In Port Car, the pirate city, ships are built for speed and maneuverability, ramming ships, galleys, raiders. In Kos and Tyros, the naval powers, ships of war are built for battle, carrying marines and catapults. In the river systems, smaller boats and barges transport goods. 6.2 Port Car, the pirate city. Port Car is the infamous city of pirates, detailed primarily in Raiders of Gore, Book 6 of the Gorean series. Port Car is known by several other names such as the Tarn of the Sea, the Scourge of Thassa, and the Dark Jewel of Thassa. As can be seen, Most of these alternative names emphasize the predatory nature of Port Car. Port Car is known as a den of cruel pirates, and their predacious fleets range over much of Thassa, as far south as the Thassa Mountains, as far north as the Polar Cap, and as far west as Kos and Tyros. Port Car is the only city on Gore without a home stone. It is a city of outlaws, bandits, fugitive slaves, and pirates, those who have no place elsewhere. The city is described as crowded, squalid, malignant, preying on the ships that sail the beautiful Sea of Thassa. 6.3 Pirate Tactics and Ship Colors. In piracy actions, a ship most often is painted green. Nearly every part of the ship, from its hull and sails down to its oars and ropes, is painted green. Green is used because it provides ships with a diminished capacity to be seen by other ships. When the sun reflects off the greenish waters of Thassa, such a painted ship can be nearly invisible until the pirate ship is quite close to its intended prey. 6.4 Port Car's Navy. At the time of the Great Naval War of 10,120 ca, Port Car possessed a combined total of about 5,000 ships, though only 1,500 were Tarn ships. Kos and Tyros each had comparable numbers of ships, and thus their combined force outnumbered Port Car by 2 to 1. 6.5 The Rensers of the Vosk Delta. Outside the city limits, Port Car claims sovereignty over the entire Vosk Delta. In actuality, Port Car is unable to effectively control this huge region. Port Car once sent warriors to collect tribute and taxes from the Rensers that live in the marshes. Port Car was very brutal in its treatment of the Rensers, and thus the Rensers would reciprocate that brutality if they happened to capture a resident of Port Car. They would commonly bind their prisoner and toss them to the marsh Tharlarion. But after Tarl Cabot visited the Rensers in Raiders of Gore and proved to them the efficacy of the long bow, the Rensers decided to adopt the long bow as a weapon against their enemies. Port Car then became much warier of the Rensers, and eventually they formed more of a truce. 6.6 The Great Ship of Tersites. The Great Ship of Tersites is the most famous vessel in the later books. Commissioned by unusual warriors for a mysterious mission, it was secretly built in the northern forests and brought down the Alexandra River to Thassa, beginning its voyage to the world's end. 6.7 Navigation and Technology. Gorean ships do not have engines. They are powered by oars and wind. The sailors of Gore are skilled navigators. They use the stars, the coastlines, the birds, and they have marine compasses and chronometers, precision instruments developed by the builders. But they do not have radios. They do not have GPS. A ship lost at sea is truly lost. 6.8 Dangers of the Sea. The Thassa is not safe. Storms can appear without warning. Pirates patrol the shipping lanes, especially near Port Car. Sea Sleen, aquatic versions of the land predator, can attack a ship, dragging sailors into the depths. And then there are the Curii. Their ships are not wooden. They are steel wolves of space descending from orbit. A Curii ship landing on Thassa is a terror beyond most Goreans' understanding. The Priest King laws do not forbid sea travel. They permit it entirely. The sea is free as anywhere on Gore. Part 7 Dangers of Travel, Bandits, Beasts, and Laws. Every journey on Gore carries risk. The traveler who forgets this does not travel far. 7.1 Bandits and Outlaws. Bandits haunt the roads. Outlaws hide in the forests. Panthers and Talunas, female outlaws, are the enemies of the heroes in the books, not allies. In the northern forests, outlaws ambush travelers on the roads to Torvaldsland. In the Barrens, renegade red savages attack white travelers who venture too far east. In the mountains, bandits hide in passes, waiting for merchants with heavy wagons. Caravans often hire mercenaries for protection. A lone traveler is easy prey. 7.2 Wild Animals. Gore is full of predators. Sleen are six-legged, furred predators, intelligent and relentless. They hunt in packs. A lone sleen is dangerous, a pack is death. Larls are great cats, similar to lions but larger and more aggressive. They hunt at night. A larl's roar is a sound that freezes the blood. Jungle larls and jungle panthers stalk the equatorial rainforests. They are bigger, more vicious, and less afraid of humans. Marchers, the carnivorous insects of the Schendi jungle, are a unique horror. Millions of them, marching in a column, devouring all flesh in their path. A traveler who sleeps in the wrong place might wake to find the column upon them. Sea sleen attack ships and swimmers. They are as dangerous in the water as sleen are on land. Tharlarion, large reptiles, some carnivorous, are a threat near water. 7.3 The Priest King Laws. The Priest Kings restrict technology. Firearms are forbidden. Radios are forbidden. Engines are forbidden, but they do not protect travelers. The blue flame of death does not strike bandits. It does not kill sleen. The Priest Kings are not guardians. They are custodians of a grand experiment, and humans are the subjects. What does this mean for travel? It means that a traveler cannot call for help. No radio. No cell phone. If you are attacked, you fight or you die. It means that a traveler cannot travel quickly except by Tarn, and Tarns are expensive, dangerous, and not available to most. It means that the roads are as they have been for 10,000 years, dangerous, uncertain, and slow. Part 8. Travel and the caste system. Not everyone travels the same way. High castes, scribes, initiates, builders, physicians, warriors can afford tarns. A warrior of R is expected to own his own war tarn. A rich merchant may hire a tarn to carry goods. Low castes walk, or they ride Kaiila if they can afford them, or they travel in Tharlarion wagons if they are part of a caravan. Slaves travel as their masters command. A Kajira may be transported in a tarn basket, chained to the floor. A male work slave may walk behind a wagon, his ankles hobbled. Outlaws and panthers travel on foot or on Kaiila. They avoid the roads. They move through the wilderness, hunting or hiding. Pirates travel by ship. Port car is their haven. Part 9. What destroys the feeling? Do not do these things, pretending that travel on Gore is easy or safe. It is not, ignoring the dangers of the road. Bandits, sleen larls, they are real threats. Having characters teleport or travel instantly across the map. Travel takes time. Giving characters modern navigation tools, no GPS, no cell phones, forgetting the Tarn goad. Without it, a tarnsman cannot control his bird, making tarns gentle pets. They are not. They are barely tamed beasts of war, ignoring the cost of travel. A tarn is expensive. A Kaiila is expensive. A journey across Gore takes weeks, assuming that all cities have the same travel infrastructure. Some have tarn platforms, some have roads, some have nothing. Putting horses on Gore, there are no horses. There are only Kaiila, forgetting the pirates of Port Car. They are a constant threat on the Thassa. Part 10. Closing the circle. I have spoken. Now I ask you to consider. Travel on Gore is not a modern convenience. It is a dangerous necessity. The Tarn is the fastest way, but only for those who can master the beast and afford the equipment. The Kaiila is the mount of Gore, not a horse. It is a silken, long-necked, claw-footed beast with 3 eyelids. It is high-strung, aggressive, and vicious-tempered. There are 3 species: the southern Kaiila, the Barrens Kaiila, and the desert Kaiila. The high Tharlarion is the mount of the southern warriors, bipedal, reptilian, strong, and fearless. It is slower than the Kaiila but harder to stop. The Tarn is the king of the skies, fast, dangerous, and barely tamed. The ship is the only way to cross the sea, but the sea is full of dangers, from storms to pirates to sea sleen. And the pirates of Port Car are the most feared on all of Thassa. Port Car is the only city without a home stone, a den of cutthroats, outlaws, and fugitive slaves. Its ships are painted green to blend with the sea. Its rensers once fed prisoners to marsh Tharlarion. And walking is the way of the poor, slow, hard, and dangerous. The priest-kings have left travel to human ingenuity. They do not help, they do not hinder, they simply watch. So when your character travels, remember, every road is a risk, every journey is an adventure, and no one is coming to save you. The circle is yours.